Hi everyone, this is Ravi. Welcome to Katalon automation tutorial. As I promised, I came up with part 2 of the full course related to Katalon Studio Automation tool in 4 hours. So as you all know, I've already published part 1 of Katalon's full course where I have covered all the concepts for beginners. So this part 2 of full course, I will be covering some intermediate concepts of Katalon Automation Studio. So this will be around 4 hours of the course. So please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. So what are all the topics that I'm going to cover in this session? So in this full course, I'm going to cover the topic how can we use test listeners and test annotations in Katalon Studio. And also how can we handle the pop-up alert dialog boxes when you are automating your manual test cases by using Katalon Studio. And I'm also going to cover how can we handle the frames and iFrames when you are automating your web application. And then I'm going to cover the global variables and local variables. So basically, how can you define global variables? How can you define local variables in Katalon Studio? And then how can you use them while automating your test cases? And also I'm going to teach you how to call the test case and how can you create reusable scripts. And also I'm going to cover the concept of setup and teardown in Katalon Studio. And also I'm going to cover some of the concepts related to BDD framework in 3 different parts. Part 1, I'm going to show you how to build a Cucumber BDD framework by using Katalon Studio, and then we are going to create a sample test. And in part 2, I'm going to show you a real-time example how can you achieve test case automation by using BDD framework in Katalon Studio. And then part 3, I'm going to cover runner class. So basically, how can you run your feature file and then your step definition files by using runner class in Katalon Studio. So now let's jump onto the system and start with our lessons. So this is our lesson 17 where I'm going to teach you how can we use test listeners in Katalon Studio, and also what is the use of test listeners in Katalon Studio. And also I'm going to cover different types of test annotations that we will be using as part of test listeners in Katalon Studio. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. Okay, so test listeners. So if you remember the concept of test ng, so when you are actually automating your test cases by using Selenium, you will be using TestNG framework, right? In the TestNG framework, we have different types of annotations, basically to specify the test case priority, and then to specify it is a test case function, right? And then before test, after test. So in the same way, Katalon also have an inbuilt functionality called test listeners. Okay, you can use these test listeners in defining different methods like before test case, after test case, before test suite, and then after test suite. Okay, all these options are readily available in Katalon Studio. So let's jump onto the system and see how can we use these test listeners in Katalon Studio while automating your test cases. Okay, so this is my Katalon Studio. Okay, so let's create one test case quickly. Okay, let's create a test case. Click on new and then create new test case. So in my previous sessions, already I explained you all these concepts. Basically, how can you create a test case and how can you add objects, right? All these concepts in my previous lessons. Okay. So now test listener, I'm going to name it as test listener, the test case title. And let's quickly record one test case. Okay. Let's record the test case. How? Record web. Okay. And then I want to provide the URL that you would like to record. Okay. This is my URL. Okay. Which is a test website. Okay. And then click on what browser do you want to select. I want to select Chrome browser. Okay. I selected Chrome browser and then click on record. So as soon as you click on record, it's going to open the website that is required. Okay. So here enter the name, and this is password, and click login. And here I'm going to register myself. Okay. I'm just registering. I'm signing up. Okay. Select India and then provide your address, street address, and then provide your email ID, and then provide mobile number. Okay. And then click on save. Okay. It's a saved, right? And then close the browser. So if you expand this, right, whatever the actions that we are performing, it is recording. Okay. Let's close the browser. Done. Now let's save the script. Okay. It is asking, do you want to save in the same object repository? So I want to create a new repository. Okay. Test listener. Okay. So all these concepts I already explained you guys. Okay. Click on OK. Done. So now our test case is created and our new repository is created. Okay. What is our test case? Test listener. Okay. Let's run this test case one more time and see if it works correctly. Okay. How? Click on run and then select your Chrome browser. Okay. So now if you see here, it started running, and then you can also observe your log viewer. Okay. To see the steps. Yeah. It's opening the browser. Okay. It's starting the Chrome driver. Yeah. It started Chrome driver. And then, okay, I think, yeah, we have some, okay, let's, okay, it's open the browser, and then it should select the country, enter the address, right? Yeah, yeah, saved that's it. So it worked perfectly all right. Okay. So I think it opened one more browser, that is because of test listener, which I created earlier. Let me remove that test listener. Okay. Okay. So that's done. So it's working for us. Okay. So now, what is test listener? So I explained you in my previous session, right, about different test listeners that are available. If you go to Katalon, okay, you simply just say test listener Katalon. Okay. And then you're gonna redirect to the documentation that is available in for the Katalon. Okay. As I told you, Katalon has a different sets of documentation. So you have lot of documentation corresponding to Katalon. Okay. So you can easily find the entire documentation. If you see here, this is documentation of the Katalon. Okay. So if you see what is test listeners, okay, as I explained you, there are different types of test listeners. Okay. One is, if you see here, generate sample before test case method. That means we are creating before test method, as I explained you in my previous session, before test case method to create a sample test listener executed before every test case starts. What about after test case? This after test case method to create a sample test listener executed after every test case ends, right? In the same way, before test suite, okay, before test suite, create a sample test listener executed before every test suite starts. Okay, in the same way, after test suites, right, this we will be creating test listener executed after every test suite is ends. Okay, so that's the reason we will be creating. Now let's create our own test listeners, and then let's use those test listeners for this test case, the new test case whatever we created. Okay, how to create test listeners? So I explained you what are all the modules available in the Katalon, right? So under Katalon left side pane, you can see test cases, object repository, test suites, data files, all these things I already explained you. And here under this, there is this folder called test listener. So right click on this folder and then click on new and then new test listener. So let's name this as test listener registration. Okay, just name this as that way. Okay, and what kind of test listener do you want to generate? So let's say I want to generate sample before test case method, after test case method, before test suite method, and after test suite method. Basically it's going to generate a sample methods. Okay, you need to select all those and click on OK. So as soon as you click on OK, it generates your sample test listener file. Okay, sample test listener class file. Okay, if you see here, you have a before method at the rate before test case. That is what the annotation that you need to use. So as I explained you earlier, whenever you are using TestNG framework by using Selenium, right? So you use almost similar kind of annotations at the rate test case, at the rate before method, at the rate before after methods, right? So in the same way here, at the rate after test case, at the rate before test suite, at the rate after test suite. Okay, so now let's use some of the listeners. Okay, how? Let's see. I want to use before test case listener. Okay, I want to basically I want to comment out the code that is present here. Okay, control forward slash comments out all the code, entire code. Okay, I want to write a new piece of code. Okay, let me do one thing. Let's copy this again. I want to copy this and paste it here. Okay, the previous one I want to comment out. Okay, so here instead of printing test case ID and test case variables, see sample test case that is available here, sample method, which prints test case ID and variable. I don't want to do that. What I want to do, so if you go here in my test case, opening browser, navigating to URL, right? And let me insert one more keyword here, web UI keyword. After navigating to URL, I want to maximize the window. Okay, maximize the window. I want to maximize the window, save it. Okay, let's keep like this. Now all these three steps, right? All these three steps are actually mandatory for me to execute. Opening a browser and then navigating to the URL and then maximizing the window is very common in every test case. So whenever I execute test case, I need to go to the URL. I need to open the browser, right? So these are my steps that I need to perform for every test case. So now I want to define those steps in before test case method, right? So that I want to go back here and go to script mode. I explained you about manual and script modes in my previous sessions. Okay, at the bottom you have all these things. Okay, go to script mode and here I want to copy, opening a browser, navigate to URL and then maximize. These things I want to copy and paste here where I want to perform these steps before any test case execute, right? Before test case execute. So that's the reason I'm defining this. And here I want to remove this because it's a function that does not require any return, right? I need not to specify any variable. So that is my before method. Okay, let's remove from here to make it simple. Okay, so this is my before method. And what about, let's, okay, so this is my before method. What is after method? Okay, after test case method. So let's copy this again after test case method as it is. Copy, paste it here. Okay, I want to comment out, sorry, I want to comment out the previous one. Okay, let's comment out all this. Okay, I commented out this. Now after test case method again, what I want to use, see, whenever I execute any test case, right, my common step is to close the browser. So I'm closing the browser, correct? So I want to create a closed browser, copy this, go to script mode, copy this step. I want to define close browser as after test case method, right? So that means any test case when I execute, the close browser should happen. And any test case when I execute, before I start the test case execution, open browser, navigate to URL, maximize window should happen. Okay, these two are before test case and after test case methods. I defined them. Done, right? So let's, okay, let me comment out all other methods. Okay, I have only these methods. Okay, before test case, after test case for now. Okay, so let's save this. Hopefully, yeah, we have everything. Now let's go back to test case now. I want to delete, see, earlier we executed test case with all these steps, right? I want to delete open browser, navigate to URL, maximize window, these three steps now, because I already created a test listener method. Delete this step and delete this step. And also close browser I want to delete because I already created after method, after test case method. Delete it and save it. Now let's run this test case and see whether it's going to run or not, because we already created test listener in this project. So let's run and make sure new session, our test case works. Let me show you now. See, it is actually calling test open browser. From where it is calling open browser? It is actually calling from your, see, it's maximized the window. It's calling from test listener. And then it is performing sign up activity. Country, address, email, right, phone number, and save. Done. So let's if you observe this, the log here, right, if you observe the log, see, before sample before test case, sample after test case, these are actually coming from test listener, right? These are the test listeners. In the same way, sample after, right? So these steps are coming from, these are the methods, correct? So this is the one method and this is another method, right? So that means our test listener is working correctly, right? So let me create another test case, duplicate of this test case. Okay, copy this test case and paste this test case. Okay, and now here I want to, what I want to do is I want to modify the values that I am entering. Okay, let's modify the username as Chandu Reddy instead of Ravikant. Okay, and then let's change your street address also. Okay, and then let's change the email ID as well. Done. Okay, so now let's save this. Okay, so basically these two test cases does not have opening browser and closing browser and navigating all these steps. It has just the main entering the details and registering, correct? So now I want to create a test suite to run these two test cases at a time. I want to make sure that when I am running a test suite, the test listener is calling before method and after test case method is getting called for both the test cases. Before executing this test case, I want to open and navigate browser by using test listener method. In the same way, before I run this test case also, it should it should call the test listener, right? I want to prove that. Okay, let's create a new test suite. Okay, let's create a new test suite called test listener. Okay, click OK, and then add your test cases. Add what test cases just now we added: test listener and test listener copy. Click OK. Now let's save the test suite. Now I want to run this test suite and make sure that test listener is called for every test case. Okay, let's run this. Okay, first it should call a test listener before the first test case is executed. Okay, let's see here what happens. My before test case method should be called. Opening browser, see, opening browser, it's happening. That means before test case method called. Okay, and then now register Ravika, first user. Okay, so it's going to select your country and it's entering the street, email, and save. Done. Now it should call the second test case. If you see, before it execute second test case, it is calling, see, Chandu Reddy, right? It is calling your test listener again, right? So that means the prerequisite of your test case and post method of your test cases can be defined in test listeners. Okay, let me analyze this logger. See, whenever first test case is this, your second test case is this, right? In the first test case, it called test listener before test case, test listener after test case. For the second test case also, it's called before test case, test listener, after test case, test listener. Okay, hope you all understand very important concept of test listeners. Okay, in the same way you can use all other methods also, after test suite, before test suite also. Okay, so if you have any queries, please provide your comments in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. This is our lesson 18, where I'm going to teach you some of the concepts. How can we handle the pop-up alert dialog boxes while automating your system under test? Stay tuned. Please do subscribe to the channel. Click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. Okay, so in this session, I'm going to teach you how can we handle different types of pop-up alert dialog boxes when you are automating your system under test application. Okay, so I'll take a simple alert pop-up box which will have OK button, or you might get some other pop-up messages like confirm pop-up dialog boxes, like you need to confirm whether it is okay or cancel, right? You need to either accept or dismiss, right? So that kind of dialog boxes, how can we handle them? And also I'm going to teach you how can we handle the prompt pop-up dialog boxes. Prompt means, let's say, as soon as you enter, I mean, probably as soon as you perform some action, you'll be getting a one dialog box to enter your name, for example. So that dialog box is a Windows box, right? So you need to enter the name. So basically, how can we enter the name into that particular prompt dialog box? Okay, so I'm going to teach you. So all these are all different pop-up alert dialog boxes, which is not straightforward automation by using any automation tool. Okay, so you need to use some other inbuilt keywords or customized keywords to handle these kind of dialog boxes. Okay, and also I'm going to teach you how can you validate the alert text of a pop-up dialog box. That means, let's say you got a dialog box, you need to validate the title of that particular dialog box, or you need to validate some text in the dialog box, right? So how can we do that? So I'm going to teach you by using Katalon, and also I'm going to teach you how can we alert the built-in keywords in Katalon. Basically, how can we use built-in alert keywords in Katalon? So that's what I'm going to teach you. Okay, so now without delay, let's jump onto the system and see how can we perform automation of all these different types of dialog boxes. Okay, so this is my Katalon. Okay, so before we start automating the test cases pertaining to different dialog boxes, so let me show you what website that we are going to use. Okay, so there is let me go to Edge, let me open the Edge browser, and this is the link from where I'm going to test the pop-up dialog boxes. Okay, I'm going to drop this link in the description of my YouTube channel. Okay, so you can find this in the description. Here, if you go to this website, there are different types of alert boxes. The first alert box I explained you, a very simple alert box that we are going to test. To test this alert box, you just need to click on try it yourself. This will open a new window where you can click on try it. So as soon as you click on try it, see, there is a pop-up alert box with OK button. This is very simple pop-up alert box. Okay, so we are going to automate this pop-up message. And also, if you go to the next pop-up alert box, the next one is basically, so it's a confirmation box, right? So if you click on this, it's going to open a new window, and then click on try it. So this opens the confirmation pop-up where user will have option to click on OK or cancel, right? So if you click on cancel, it's going to display you pressed cancel. If you click on OK, it's going to show you you pressed OK. Okay. And what is our third type of pop-up box? It's a prompt box. Okay. So as soon as you click on try it yourself, it opens a new window, and then click on try it. Okay. Here it is asking you to please enter your name. So I can enter my name, click on OK. So this entering our name and clicking on OK, we are going to handle while automating. Okay. So these are the three different Windows dialog boxes that we are going to handle in this particular session. Okay, so let's see how can we handle them by using Katalon. Okay, let's go back to Katalon, and let me create a new folder. My new folder is alert boxes. Okay, alert boxes. Okay, so once you create the new folder, then you need to create a test case, right? So what is the test case? So let me, my first test case is new test case alert TC1. This is my first test case, which is our simple alert box. Okay, so where is our simple alert box? Okay, let's create a test case. Okay, it's created. The new test case is created. So let's go back to Edge again and see our simple is this one, right? This is our simple alert box where you have option of OK. Okay, so take this URL, copy this URL. Okay, so now go back to Katalon and then let's start a recording. Okay, record web. I would like to record a web. Okay, and here I'm going to provide the URL that I have copied for the simple alert box. Okay, now click on record. Okay, let me take, okay, let me click on record. Okay, as soon as you click on record, it's gonna open the URL. Okay, it opened the URL. If you see, it is recording the script. Open browser, navigate to this URL, and then click on this button, try it button. And then as soon as I click on try it button, and then even though if I click on this OK button, right, it's not gonna. So let me do it again. Let me delete this step again. See, because it's a alert window, this OK button is not gonna work because this is a pop-up window. It's a pop-up alert window, right? So let me, let me just delete all the steps that are actually by mistake it's got recorded. So what you observed, opening the website, click on try it. That is where we are able to record. But once the pop-up window opens, whatever you perform the actions, that is not getting recorded by using Katalon, right? So we need to handle them in a different way, not by using recording. Okay, let's stop the recording and then save our script, right? Click on save script. It's going to ask you to save your objects. Okay, I want to create a new folder, alert objects. Okay, and click OK and click OK. Done. So now if you see a new folder, alert objects, all the objects are saved here. Okay, let it be. Okay, so this is our first test case. But now what we did, we clicked on, so let's go back to this window again. What we did, we just clicked on try it, but we have not handled this pop-up alert, right? How can we do that? So after click on try it, let's add another dialog box. Okay, so if you go to, sorry, another step. Okay, what is our step? If you go to here under keywords, under keywords browser, left side panel, right, under built-in keywords, web UI keyword, there is alert. If you expand alert, there are different keywords that we can use to handle alert boxes or dialog boxes. So I want to basically verify alert present or not first. Okay, let's drag and drop here. So what I'm doing, verify alert present or not. Okay, let's put the value as 2 seconds. Okay, first, as soon as I click on try it, I'm going to verify this alert box present or not. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another one, accept the alert. So either I can basically define the step from here, or as I explained you earlier, you can directly drag this accept the alert here. Okay, there are two ways you can do. Okay, let's delete the duplicate ones. Okay, as soon as I verify the alert present, I'm accepting the alert. What means it's going to click on OK. Okay, and then let me add another one step for delay, because you need to understand whether we clicked on OK or not, right? So let's OK. So and then close the browser. Okay, so that means I'm handling the alert box. First I'm verifying whether the alert present or not. If it presents, I'm instructing Katalon to accept the alert, right? And then I have inserted a delay and close browser. Okay, so now let's execute this particular test case. Let's execute. I want to execute this in probably Edge. Okay, Edge Chromium, whatever the browser you want to use, you can use. Okay, so it is running. So let's expand our log viewer to see what's happening. Okay, so it's going to open Edge Chromium driver. right? It opened, and then click on try it. Yes, click on OK, and then delay and done. Okay, first of all, let me do one thing. Let me add another step to maximize the window. Okay, let me maximize the window. Okay, let me maximize the window. So let's do one thing. Let me put 1 second. Okay, and now let's run the script again and see what happens. Okay, okay, so it's opening the browser. Okay, try it, click on try it, verify the alert, and then click on OK. That's it. So if you see here, it's verified the alert presents, and then it accepted, alert accepted, correct? And then close the browser. Okay, this is our simple dialog box. Let's see what is our next dialog box. Our next dialog box is the confirmation dialog box, right? So where you will be trying it, either you can click on OK or cancel. Okay, let's validate this. Okay, copy this URL. Now let's go to Katalon and create a new test case. New test case, alert test case 2, right? And then let's record the session. Okay, let's click on record web, and then provide the new URL that just now we copied, and then click on record. Okay, as soon as you click on record, it's going to open the window. And here, as I explained you, it records until try it, but it will not record the pop-up messages, right? Click on try. Okay, sorry, it's somehow it's not opening the pop-up message. Let's do one thing. Yeah, try it. Yeah, and then I click on OK. But still, if you see, it only recording try it, but not OK, right? Let's close the browser and then stop recording and then save the script. So it's going to ask you. So I'm going to select the same alert objects only. Okay, the previous one. Okay, click OK. So done. So now what I'm going to do here, again, this is our second one. Now we need to handle the alert box, right? So how we clicked on try it. Let's go here. Let's go back to that object here. You clicked on try it, but now you need to click on OK, right? Or cancel. Okay. We are going to do both the things. Okay. Let's use our built-in option again. First, verify the alert present or not. Okay. Before that, let's add keyword. Okay. Let's add the keyword. Let's add a step, new step. Add a step. Instead of here, verify alert present. Okay, verify alert present. And then add one more step. Add one more step. First, I'm going to validate accept alert. Okay, I'm going to accept the alert. And then I'm going to insert a delay to validate whether you click on OK. If you click on OK, it should say you pressed on OK, right? I'm going to validate. I'm going to delay for 2 seconds or 3 seconds. I'm going to delay for 3 seconds to see whether Katalon clicked on OK or not. Okay. And then close the browser. Correct. Let's do one thing. Okay. Let's add another step. Maximize window. Right. And then let's again run this. Okay. Let's run this. Edge Chromium. Okay. So now it should open. your Edge browser and then go to the URL and then maximize, click on try it and then click on OK. See, if you see, it clicked on OK button. That means it handled the OK. Now let's say instead of accept alert, sorry, I want to dismiss the alert. Okay, basically I want to click on cancel. How? You need to use the keyword called dismiss the alert. Dismiss alert. Okay, it's going to dismiss the alert. That means it's going to click on cancel. Let's see how it's going to handle. Run on Edge. Okay, so it's opening the Edge browser, and then this time it should click on cancel instead of OK, right? So it's maximize the browser, try and cancel. If you see here, you clicked on cancel. That means it dismissed the pop-up message successfully. Okay, and so that is another one, and let's create another test case which is related to confirmation. Oh, sorry, not the confirmation, it's a prompt message. Basically, you a dialog will be prompted to enter your name. Once you enter, click on OK. Okay, and then immediately whatever the name you entered in the edit box, that should display. Okay, let's automate this. Okay, how? So this is my URL. Okay, let's go to Katalon and click on right click and then create a new test case, alert tc3. Okay, and here again let's record the web, paste it here. Let's record by using Edge Chromium this time. Okay, Edge Chromium. As soon as you click on record Edge Chromium, it opens the URL. Now let's click on try it and then enter the name. Even though you enter the name, so let's expand this. Okay, entering name, see, nothing is recording. Click on OK. See, whatever the actions that we performed in the dialog box, that are not recorded here. Okay, done. Okay, let's stop the recording. Okay, and then save script. I'm gonna use same alert objects folder to save my locators. Click OK. So done. So again here, so now first I need to verify. So as soon as I click on try it, I need to verify if the dialog box present or not. So not this one, right? The dialog box present or not. Okay, what is the step that we need to add? Verify alert present, right? Add the step after clicking on try it. Add verify alert present and then add here. This is a new step that we need to add. What is the new step? So let me show you here. Okay, go here. There is a step called set alert text. Set alert text, drag and drop here. Set alert. Okay, let me delete this. Set alert text. What is the text that you want to set? I want to set a Ravikant as a alert text. Okay, this alert text I want to set it as Ravikant. Okay, Ravikant. Here, this is the text, and then let's accept. Now you need to accept the alert, right? As soon as you enter Ravikant, you need to accept it. You need to accept the alert, correct? So let's do that now. Again, add. See, accept alert is by default it is coming. Okay, accept the alert. Done. And then close the browser. Before that, I want to add a delay here to see our text is accepted or not. Let's add a delay of 3 seconds. Click OK. Let's go here, add, maximize the window. So there are small compatibility issues for that particular website. Okay, that's not a problem. Let's go here, Chromium, Edge Chromium. Now so it should open the Edge browser. Yes, yeah, it opened, and then it should maximize the window. Click on try it. Yes, it entered. See, if you see, it's clicked on try it and it entered Ravikant and it's printed Ravikant, right? So done. Okay, what if I want to verify the text? Let me see. If I want to verify the text here, this text, dialog box text, how can I verify that? It's simple. Let's go back to Katalon again. Let's do one thing. Verify the alert present. After verifying the alert present, I want to add one more step here. You have one built-in function called get alert text. Okay, let's do that. Okay, get alert to text, and then I'm going to store this alert text to alert text variable. Alert text variable. Okay, I'm going to store that into alert text variable. So once I store alert text, I want to print, right? Let's go back to the script mode. I want to go to script mode. Now I want to print that. So this one, I want to print ln alert text is okay. What is my alert text? My alert text is this. Copy. That is stored under variable called alert text, right? So let's go back to manual script again mode. So I'm printing the alert text. Okay, let's make sure again. Yeah, println, save this. Let's bring this move up. Before verify the alert present, first let me get the alert text and then print the alert text. Okay, let's again run this in Edge Chromium. Okay, so it's opening the Edge. And then maximize the window. Click on try it. Okay, I think it's clicked on cancel. Okay, that's okay. Let's stop this. See, if you see here, it got the alert, get the alert text successfully, right? What is the alert text? Please enter your name. This is the alert text, and it's printed that alert text. If you go to console, if you see here, it actually captured the alert text. See, alert text is please enter your name. If you go to that alert text here, what is the alert text? Please enter your name. That means I'm able to capture the text that is present on the dialog box, right? So this is the way you can basically handle different types of dialog boxes, JavaScript related dialog boxes, right? Or any kind of alert boxes by using Katalon Studio. Okay, so if you have any queries, please do provide your comments in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. Okay, hope you all understand how to handle the pop-up alert dialog boxes by using Katalon Studio automation tool. And this is our lesson 19, where I'm going to teach you how can we handle the frames and the iframes. Okay, so if you are using any website, okay, if you are automating any test cases that involves with the frames and iframe pages or objects which are related to frames and iframes, you need to handle in a different way to automate the test cases. Okay, that is what I'm going to teach you. How can we handle frames and iframes related objects by using Katalon? Okay, please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. Okay, so if you see on the screen, handling frames and iframes, right? If you see on the screen, there are two links that I have pasted. The first one is W3 Schools, okay? That is a free website where you can access different types of frames. And also there is another website, selenium.dev, okay? So this is one website which I'm gonna use in showing some of the examples to handle the iframes, the objects related to iframes. Okay, so basically by using Katalon, when you are recording or when you are recording a test, right? So basically the iframes, or when you are automating a test cases, you need to handle the iframes in a different way. Okay, what kind of methods that we need to use in automating the test cases that are interacting with the iframes? That's what I'm going to teach you by using Katalon automation tool. Okay, so now let's jump onto the system and see how can we perform automation which involves frames or iframes. Okay, so this is my Katalon. Okay, so to understand the frames and iframes, right? So we have a couple of websites. I have already showed you in the slide. So these two are the links. I'm gonna paste it into description. Okay, so if you go to this W3 schools, so this is what one page where you can see this is your frame. It's basically iframe. If you right click here, and you should see view frame source, that means you have a frame on this page. Okay, and if you click on inspect, right, if you click on inspect, let's see, if you see here, this is your iframe. Let's go here. See here, this is your iframe. You have this entire iframe. Under iframe you have text called this page does not display. Okay, and there is another URL which is related to let's see, give me a minute. So there is another URL which is this one. Okay, this is selenium.dev. Okay, this is another URL. So if you see here, if I just go here and then right click and see view page, view frame source, right? That means there is a frame in this page also. Let's inspect this. If I inspect this, right, there are three different frames I can find out here. Okay, let's see here. If you go to the top, see this is one iframe. Let's minimize this. And then under this, again, this is another iframe, right? First iframe, this one, second iframe, first and second iframe, and the third iframe is this. This is another iframe. 1, 2, 3. You see, whenever I hover, it is actually, right? These are all the iframes. Under this iframe, they defined all the links. Okay, see here, all the links. Whatever the links you are seeing here, these are all the different links that they defined. Right now, to handle the locators that are actually located under a iframe, so that needs to be handled in a different way. Okay, how are we going to handle? Let me show you example with Katalon. Okay, so first let's copy this URL here, copy this URL. Okay, let's create a new test case. Right click, click on new and create new folder first. Frames. Under this frames, let me create a new test case, iFrames TC01. Okay, this is my new test case. So I'm gonna add, instead of recording, I'm gonna add each and every step. Okay, first add open browser. Just type in, you will get keyword open browser, and then add, next navigate to URL. What is the URL? My URL is, double click and paste the URL. This is my URL. And then you need to click on one of the link here. Let's say I want to click on here. Click on this link. So for that, let me do one thing. Let me use object spy web. Okay. Click on spy web, and this is the URL, and start recording. Okay. So now let's add this. I want to add probably this link. Okay. Just to add, what you need to do, you just need to, let's click on this. Okay, alt tilt, so that will capture your element. If you see here, this is my link locator, and this is the XPath. Okay, let me copy this XPath. Okay, I don't want to basically add this entire, if you see here, this object is under this frame, iframe, because Katalon is already capturing the iframe. I don't want to take that approach. That approach. Let's say I want to capture this locator, and let's close this. Okay. So now here I need to click on this link, right? For that, add. So before adding a step, first I need to add object. Okay. Right click, click on new. Let's say frames locators. Okay. I'm creating a new folder, and now I'm going to add a new object here. Test object. What is the object? iframe link. Link which present in the link. Which present in the iframe. Correct? Let's click OK. And here, this is the XPath that I just copied. Okay. Now save this. Save. So this is the link that I want to click. Okay, let's go back to your test case again. Okay, so now here I want to click, I want to perform a click function. Click, right? What object? I want to click this link. Okay, just now I added the link here. Okay, in the object repository. Drag and drop here. Okay, and then close the browser. Close browser. So now let's run this and see whether it's going to work or not. Okay, click on run Chrome. Okay, what happens, we'll see. Because we have actually directly using the link property to locate the link. Okay, the script might fail. Okay, it might not be able to locate the link because that link is located under iframe. Okay, it's opening the web browser. Okay, it opened the browser. Now it waits for, because now it is trying to locate the link. Which link? This link. But it's not going to identify the link because we have not handled the iframes properly. Okay. Okay, so it will fail. Okay, let's wait for this. It tries for a couple of minutes and then it's going to fail. Okay, yeah, it's failed. If you see here, unable to find the locator, right? Why? Because we are not referring to the iframe. Okay, how can we handle this? Okay, if you go to your web, earlier I already explained you, if you go to the keywords in my previous session, I explained this one. Okay, under keywords, under built-in keywords, okay, web UI keywords, you have a folder called frame. Under this frame, you have switch to frame keyword. Okay, So let's add this step here, switch to frame keyword. Okay, just move up. Before I actually clicking on link, I need to switch to the frame. What frame? This is the frame. Okay, what is this frame? Let's inspect this. If you see here, this is our frame. This is our iframe. What is the name of iframe? This is the name of iframe, right? So to locate that, let's use my Chrome path. Okay, this is one add-in that is available for Chrome. Okay, this is the Chrome path. I want to, let's say, forward slash, sorry, iframe, and then at the rate name, I'm using the name property, equal to, what is that name? Sorry, Control Z. What is the name? Name is this one. This is the wire. So if you see, the iframe name is this. Okay, copy this and paste it here. Okay, this is my, if I click enter, see, it is matching one element and it is highlighting. If you see, it is highlighting in the green color, right? This frame is highlighting, this entire iframe is highlighting. Okay, so that means one match found. I can copy this. Now I want to add this frame to my object repository. We added the link, this link, but I want to add this frame also. Right click, click on new, test object, iframe, click OK. Once you click OK, and then select XPath and paste the locator that we created. Okay, and now save this, save it. Okay, so now let's go back to the test case. Here, before I click to the link, I'm actually switching to the frame. What frame? Just now I added. This is the frame locator, right? Drag and drop here. And then just add 2 seconds. Now if I execute this test case, I should be able to click the link successfully. Let's run this. Okay, let's run this. So if you see, when I'm running this, so it's going to open the Chrome. So once it opens the Chrome, now it should actually successfully click on the link. See, done. That means it's clicked on the link. It's clicked on the link. So let me add one wait message here. Okay, delay. Let me add a delay so that you can easily watch. 4 seconds of delay. Click OK. And also let me add maximize window. Okay, so now let's run again. I just want to show you whether it's clicked or not. Okay, okay, so it's now opening the Chrome browser, right? It maximizes the window. See, done. It's clicked on this link, that's why it is appeared, this one appeared. Okay, so now everything is successful. Let's say if I remove this again, let me show you, it should fail, right? Because we are not switching to the frame. So before that, let me create another test case. Okay, under frames, let's create another test case. Now let's record the actions. Okay, let's create iFrames TC02. Okay, this time we are going to record. Okay, click OK. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to record the session. Okay, let's record this, and then this is my URL. Let's use Chrome. So it is opening. Okay, it's opened, and then click on this link. Done. And then close the browser. See all the steps we are doing here. Okay, and then save the script. So let's create page overview. That's okay. Let's create a new folder, frames 01. Okay, click OK. So now if you see here, now if I run this, right, if I run this, this should successfully, I mean, let's see if it's going to be success or not. Okay, let's run this. It's opening the Chrome. Because we have not handled any frames here, we just clicked on link, but this time we recorded. So what happens, we'll see. So it's open and then it's clicked. It's successful. How? So if you see, when I am recording the session with Katalon, what does Katalon do? If you go to this object, okay, if I go to this object link, if you see here, I can see a parent iframe here, a parent iframe. So that means this particular link is already mapped to a parent iframe. Okay, that's the reason it's working. Let me go back to my previous test case again, the previous test case that we created manually. Okay, and let me tell you that. Okay, let me show you that. Okay, if I go to this link, I do not have a parent iframe. That's the reason we are actually first switching to the frame, right? Okay, and then we are handling this. Okay, let me remove this switch to frame. Okay, let me delete, let me remove this, and let me handle in a different way. Okay, let me remove this. Now if I run this, right, it will not work because I'm not handling the frame. Let's run this and let me show you. Okay, either you have to handle the frame in the step, or you need to handle the frame at object repository level. Both the ways you can do. Okay, so now it's waiting. It's not gonna click on the link. It's gonna throw error message. See, it waits for probably like 3-4 times. It will try, and then it's gonna throw error message. Okay, so now let me stop the execution. Okay, let's stop the execution. So now how can I can handle in a different way. Let's open the object, the link object here. Here I want to, this is my iframe, correct? This is my iframe, correct? So now I want to, for this link, I want to add a parent iframe. How? You select parent iframe. Now browse this and select the iframe that we added. Okay. See, if you see frames locator, see this is my iframe, right? This is my iframe that I added earlier. Okay. I'm gonna tie that parent iframe to this object and then now save it. Let's save this now. Okay, now if I open this again, let me open this again. Now you can see there is a parent iframe tied to your actual link, correct? Now if I run this test case again without switching to the frame, now it should be successful. Let's run this. See, it is now opening the browser. Yes, it maximizes. It should now click. Yes, it's clicked on the link. That's the formula. Okay, so now you understand, right, how to handle the frames or iframes. See, basically iframes and frames are more or less similar. Okay, all these frames are actually defined under frame sets. Okay, all these frames are defined under frame sets. Let me just show you again. Okay, so if you see, as I told you, let's inspect this. See, these links are defined under frames, right? And these frames are defined under frame sets. Okay, so basically these are all the concepts that we use for handling the frames and iframes. Okay, frames and iframes more or less same. There is no difference, but I mean there is a difference. But only thing is Katalon can handle in the same way how do we handle iFrames. Okay, frames can also handle in the same way how we handle iFrames. Okay, hope you all understand the concept. Okay, this is our lesson 20 where I'm gonna cover the topics related to global variables and local variables. I'm gonna teach you how can we define the global variables and local variables by using Katalon, and then how can we use the local variables and the global variables in Katalon, and what is the difference between local variables and the global variables in terms of Katalon. Okay, so please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You will receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. So our agenda item, first we are going to understand how to use the local variables, and also I'm going to show you an example by automating a test case with the help of local variables. And also we are going to understand how to use the global variables. How can we define and use the global variables? And then I'm going to show you by automating a test case how can we call the global variables while automating the test case, and then we are going to execute the test case also. Okay, so now let's jump onto the system and see how can we implement the local variables and global variables by using Katalon, okay, while automating our test cases. Okay, so this is my Katalon studio. Okay, so first, to understand local variables, that is our first topic. To understand local variables, if you remember correctly, we have automated a simple end-to-end test case where the registration of the user, so you register with the email ID, your full name, and then you're going to provide your address so that you can be registered to one of the website. Okay, so the registration process we already automated. Okay, let me, here is the test case that we automated in my previous sessions. So I have already published around 20 plus videos on Katalon, right? So I would recommend you guys to go through those videos before you watch this session. Okay, so let me simply run this particular test case to understand what is the test case that we automated. Okay, so I just clicked on run. So it's going to open one website. Okay, and then it's going to complete registration process of a user. Okay, so it's opened. So it's going to enter your full name, it sets the password, and now you need to provide your identification details, country, address, email, phone number. So it's going to provide all these details and complete the registration process. Okay, see, it's providing all the information and then submit. Right, so that's the test case that we automated. If you see here, we are providing full name, password, address, email ID. These are all the hard-coded values, right? So now let us define the local variables to store these values. Instead of sending the hard-coded text, I want to pass the variables, which are local variables. If you go to the script mode, you can see this is all the script that is corresponding to this particular test case, correct? So let's go to variables. So how can we define local variables? To define the local variables, you need to open your corresponding test case. See, this is my test case. Within the test case, you can see a sub tab called variables. You need to click on variables. Okay, so let me add the variables. What is my first variable I want to add? Full name, address, email, and phone. Right, let's go to variables tab, click on add. Okay, name this as full name. Right, provide the value as, let's say I want to provide it as Ravi Reddy. Okay, and the second one is address. My second variable name is address, and the type is, so you have all these types, right? It supports string, number, boolean, global variables, and all these things. Okay, string, and then let me define this as blank street. Okay, and let me add another variable. The variable name is email ravi@outlook.com. Okay, and then phone. Okay, 706 one more. Okay, 706 748 5465. Okay, so let's save these variables now. So let's go back to our test case again. So here, instead of hard coding, I need to call these local variables. This is called as local variable because these variables are defined within the test case. Okay, so you can call these variables within the test case only. Within the test case, in any step you can call. Okay, so here full name, instead of hard coding, I want to change this to variable. How? Double click here, and here if you see, my parameter name is text, correct? Parameter type is string and value type is string. Here instead of string, I would like to select it as variable. And here the value, if you see, it is going to show all the variables that we have defined under variable tab. Okay, this is my full name. Click OK. So instead of Chandrakant, now it is actually replaced with full name. In the same way, address, here, double click on this address, change the variable type to variable, and change the value, pick the value from the variable name. So what is the variable name for which stores the address? This is the variable name that we defined, correct? Click OK. And email also, change the variable type to variable, and here select the variable name email that we defined earlier. In the same way, phone, change the variable type to variable and select the variable name that we just now defined as phone. Click OK. Right? Save the test case. So if you see, all these are the variables that we already defined: full name, address, email, phone. In the same way, full name, address, email, phone. So now all the values should come from here. Ravi Reddy, address should be this, Ravi. Now if I run the test case, these values should be taken from variables. Remember these values, Ravi Reddy, Ravi at the rate Outlook, right? So now let's run the test case now. If I run the test case, it is gonna take all the values from the local variables that we defined. Okay. So if you see here, already on top, it is showing all the default names here. That means the variables, local variables. So let me just see here. So it should take as Ravi Reddy. That's correct. And here email ID, address should be whatever the values that we defined in the variables. Okay. So here the address, see, blank street, Ravi at the rate Outlook. So that means it is taking all the values from local variables that we define. So now, what is our next agenda? Our next agenda is defining global variables. So the difference is local variables that you can use within the test case. But the global variables you can call in any of the test case. So you can call those global variables in multiple test cases. And global variables can be defined as environment variables also. So the global variables you can define for each and every environment as well. Okay. So how can we define global variables? Okay. If you see on the top, there is a module called profiles, right? So these profiles also called as environments. Basically, you can define the environments here. So right click here and click new and click execution file, new execution file. I want to name this as pre-prod. Okay. I want to name this as pre-prod. Let's say we are automating the test cases in our pre-prod environment. Now, each environment might have their own test data sets. The same test data cannot be used in different environments in real time, right? See, if I'm using a test data in QA environment, I cannot use the same test data in the pre-prod environment, right? The test data might change. Okay, so I created pre-prod environment. Now I want to define the same variables, whatever the local variables that we define here, right? Full name, address, email, phone. So the same variables I'm going to define at environment level. Okay, let's add here same full name. Put the name as this time Chandu. Instead of Ravi Reddy, I'm naming as Chandu Reddy. Okay. So to differentiate between the global and local, I'm changing the values so that you will understand whether it is calling global variables or local variables. Now let's add address and put the address as 111 Test Street. Instead of blank street, I'm putting as Test Street. And the next one is email. So this time instead of Ravi @Outlook, I'm going to put as Chandu @Outlook. Done. Let me add phone as well. Let's start with 8. Okay. So let's save these. So what is the environment? We defined all these variables under environment called pre-prod. Under profile or environment called pre-prod. Now let's go back to our old test case again. Here now, instead of calling my local variable, so let me do one thing. Let me rename this as local variables. So let me copy this. Okay, let me copy this. Okay, let me copy this test case and then paste it here. And I want to rename this as global variables. Okay, rename this as global variables. Okay, so now for test case global variables, instead of calling my local variables, correct, local variables, I want to call global variables. How? You need to just click here, and here instead of variable, now you are gonna define as global variable, and now you see it displays all the variables that you define. Oh no, before this I forgot to mention one more thing. So before going ahead with this, we have to change the environment here. So if you see on top here, okay, on run, debug and all these things, if you see here, this is your execution profile. So what is the execution profile that is defined? Defined as default. So if you see in the default, you have a different, you don't have variables, right? So now here I want to change the environment to pre-prod. See here the profile, I want to change it to pre-prod. Now let's go back to our test case and double click on full name. Now here change it to global variable. Now if you see here, you should get all the values that we defined here. Correct? Full name. Okay. Click OK. And here address. Under address also I want to call this as global variable, and here I want to take address. This is my global variable. If you see here, global variable. Email. Instead of variable, select global variable and select email from the global variables. In the same way, phone, global variables, and here phone as global variable. Click OK. And if you see here, if you go to your script mode, here if you see here, it is actually calling. See, set text so and so, object repository, global variable full name. In the same way, global variable address, global variable dot email, global variable dot phone. Correct? So here, this is our global variable dot full name, right? Save this now. So if I execute, see, my environment is pre-prod. You need to make sure you select pre-prod environment, then only execute the test cases. Okay, let's execute the test case and see if it is going to take the values from the global variables. So it started test case execution. It opens your browser. It should not call local variables now. Okay, it should go everything Chandu Reddy. See, Chandu Reddy. And then the address should be test street, 111 test street. That should come from global variable. Even though there is a local variables defined, but it's not going to take the local variables. See, 111 test street, change the rate what look, and phone number starts with 8. So that means we are able to successfully call the global variables. Let's assume if I want to call the same global variables in previous test case. Simply you can change the here also. So that means I just want to prove you can call these global variables in n number of test cases. Any test case. Let's call here also. Let me run here also. Okay. Address, global variable, and then select address. So basically I'm changing my previous test case also to call the global variables. Okay, this is your email and this is your phone. Click OK and save this, and now run this. Even this test case should take the variables from global. So basically it should consider global variables. So you can call the global variables from any test case, and local variable is applicable for particular test case. Within the test case, you can call within the test case. See, Chandu Reddy. So it's taking from the global variables. Okay, so hope you all understand the difference between local variables and the global variables in terms of Katalon. See, it is executing, it is taking all the global variables. And then how can you use, or how can you define the local variables and global variables, and how can you call those variables in different test cases? So if you have any queries, leave your queries in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. So this is our lesson 21, where I'm going to teach you how can you call an existing test case, or how can you call an existing automated test case while automating another test case, or how can you write a scripts so that you can reuse those scripts whenever you need while automating your scenarios. Please do subscribe to the channel. Click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. Okay, so this is my Katalon studio. Okay, so where we are going to start automating one login functionality, and then we are going to automate another scenario, registration functionality. Okay, so now how can we reuse the login function or login script in multiple test cases, okay, while automating multiple scenarios? Okay, that's what we are going to see. So if you remember, in my previous sessions, right, we are using this website example.testproject.io, okay, where here you'll be performing login. Okay, let's say I'm gonna log in as James Bond and my password is 12345 and click on login, right? This is your login function. And then another test case is I need to automate this registration functionality, right? Once you login is one test case and registration is my another test case. Okay, so let's first automate our login functionality. Okay, for that, under test cases, I'm going to create one new folder called lesson 21 and click OK. And under lesson 21 folder, I'm going to create a new test case called login and then hit OK. Okay, so now this is my test case. What I'm going to do, I'm going to record my test case. So let me automate that login function by using record functionality, okay, to save some time. So record web, click on top, you see you have a lot of icons, okay, record web. So I've already explained you how to record and then how can you write the script and all these things in my previous sessions. I would recommend you guys to go through those sessions, okay. So hit record web. As soon as you hit record web, so it will give you an option to record on multiple browsers, any kind of browser. So I'm going to select Chrome as my default, okay, and then hit record. So as soon as you hit record, it opens your URL. So now let me just enter James Bond and let me provide my password as 12345. Hit login. Done. So now I want to stop the recording so that I can save the script. So if you see here, it recorded each and every step that we performed. Okay, and now hit save script. It will ask you to save your locators. So I want to create a new folder to save the locators. Login underscore test. Hit OK and then click on OK. So this will save your test case. Now if you see under login test case, and then it also saved your object locators. Under login test case, now I can see open browser, navigate to. Let's go and see in the script mode also. Okay, if you see, you are opening the browser and navigating to the URL and setting your full name as James Bond, and then you are setting your encrypted text password, right? And then you are clicking on login button and then closing the browser, right? Let's go back to manual mode. Now I want to delete this close browser. I don't want to close the browser once I hit login. Okay, right click and delete. Okay, so this is I have automated the functionality called login, and this login functionality is a reusable test case because to perform any kind of validation in the application, first user must log in, right? So this is my reusable test case. So now let me create another test case under lesson 21. Right click and then create new test case. Name this as registration. Okay, registration, and click on OK. Now let me record my registration process in different way now. Okay, so let's go to my website. Okay, let's go to website and then just log in, perform login, some sample login. Okay, and this is my registration page, right? I want to record registration functionality. Okay, let's go back to your Katalon and here now select record web. This time I'm not going to select new browser. instead of selecting my new browsers list, I'm going to pick active browsers. Okay, so let's select. So you have a new browsers here. These are my active browsers. So let me select Chrome as an active browser and click on continue recording. So now what it will do, you can basically go to your active browser and start performing actions so that it records your script. Select your country as Austria and then provide your street address and provide your email. So I'm going to provide my email and then I'm going to provide mobile number. Okay, and then hit save and click on log out. Done. So now you can stop the recording. And now in the same way you can see all the actions that you can see. Now let me save the script. While saving the script, it will ask you to save your locators also. So I want to create a new folder, registration underscore test. Click OK and then click OK. So now my registration test case is saved. So you can see this is my registration test case and this is my login test case. Correct? Login, registration. Okay. So here under registration, I want to delete open browser and also I want to delete navigate to URL, right? Because registration starts from selecting your, let me just go back here, selecting the country first, address, email, phone. So I am selecting my select option by value 80 and then setting the text in the address, setting the text in email, phone number, clicking on save and then clicking on logout and closing browser. Correct? So now I cannot run this particular registration test case alone because opening the browser, performing login is necessary to validate your registration. Correct? So that's why I want to call my previous login script to this registration test case. How can we do that? So place your cursor in your first row and then hit add, and here you can see call test case. You click on call test case and here you select expand your lesson 21 folder that we created and select login test case and click OK. And here my call test case login. I want to arrange this as a first step. Just drag and drop into here. So first I'm going to call login test case and then I'm going to select country. I'm going to enter address and all, right? So I just called my login test case. If you see, go to your script mode, it clearly says call test case from where, find test case from lesson 21 and the test case name is login and then perform all other registration operations, right? Let's go back to manual mode and save your test case, registration test case. Now let's run your registration test case. To see, when I run the registration test case, it should first perform login and then it should perform registration. Okay, let's run this. Hit run to make sure your registration test case works perfectly by calling your login function. Okay, so it is opening. As soon as you hit run, it's going to start opening the browser and it should perform login function first. Let's see. See, now see, it entered James Bond, it entered your zip, and now it should perform your registration. It selected Austria. It's going to enter your address, email, and phone number. See, address, email, phone number, and then saved and log out and close the browser. That means if you see here, let me see my test results. If you see the test results, observe closely. Here you are calling your test case first. If you expand this, it shows all the steps from your login test case. See, it is showing all your login test cases. Open browser, navigate URLs, login, password, and then hit login. And then it is performing all your registrations, right? So this is your call test case. So if you observe here, see, once you log in, you are selecting the country from the drop down, right? I'm selecting Austria, but if you see here in the script, it is showing something called AT. What is this AT? It is actually, if I go back to my, let's say, right click and inspect this, right? Right click and inspect here, you can see the drop down values at the back end are actually 2-digit codes. See, AL, DZ, AS, A1, right? Because I don't know backend values. For Austria, what is my 2-digit code? We don't know, right? I want to select this drop-down value with my label name, whatever it is showing in the drop-down, right? Let me change that first, okay? Let me change here. Instead of selecting my drop-down value by value, I want to select this drop-down by label. So let's select this. Now it is easy for me to select any drop-down. Let's say I want to select India. India is spelled as INDIA. Done. And now, and also after performing login, I want to maximize the window. Right now we are not maximizing the window. So let's maximize the window. How? Place your cursor, because after call test login, I want to maximize the window. Place your cursor in the first row. Add web UI keyword, and here I want to do maximize window, right? Let's call maximize window here, okay? Here let's maximize, see, maximize window. Select this. Now that's it, save it. Now when I run this test case, now it should perform login, and then it should immediately maximize the window, and then it should select India as a country for the registration, and then perform rest of the operations. Okay, let's run this. Hit run. So now if you see, it's going to perform login without maximizing the window first. Yeah, now it is opening the browser first, and then it should perform your login. Done. James Bond, see, it is performing login without maximizing. Now it maximized, right? Now it should select India instead of Austria by using, see, it selected India by using the drop down name itself, right? And then it's going to enter your address, your email, and all this. Done. Successful. So all our steps are passed, and hope you all understand. See, now I can call this login function in n number of test cases while automating a different scenarios. So you can call this test case n number of times in any test case that you would like to automate, right? So if you have any queries, leave your queries in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. Hope you all understand the concept of reusability of your test cases. How can you call your reusable test scripts while automating your test cases? So this is our lesson 22, where I'm going to teach you what is setup and teardown in Katalon Studio, and how can you configure the setup and teardown by using Katalon Studio, and then how can you use the configured setup and teardown functions by using Katalon Studio. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. Okay, so in this lesson, by end of this lesson, you're going to learn how to configure setup at test suite level, and then how to configure teardown at test suite level. And also you're going to learn how can you configure setup at test case level, and then how can you configure teardown at test case level. So now let's jump out of the system and see how can we create, setup and tear down in Katalon Studio. Okay, so this is my Katalon Studio. Okay, so let me create. So before we start automating our test case and see how can we configure setup and tear down, let's create one folder under test case module. Okay, right click and create a folder, lesson 22. Okay, and now, so I think if you see my previous video, lesson 21, we already automated login and registration functionality. So let me show you again how to automate that. Okay, so in this folder, right click and click on new test case now and name this as login test. Okay, and then okay, so we are going to automate as usual. We are going to automate the website called example.testproject.io. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. Okay, first let us automate login functionality as we did earlier. Okay, so for that I'm just recording record web. Let me close this. I'm going to use record web option to make it quicker. Record web, and then provide the URL here. It's already there. And then select the record button. Okay, it's already selected Chrome. I'm going to select it as record. And once it starts recording, it's going to open the website, and then I'm going to perform actions. So let me expand this to see it is taking all my actions. Okay, click on login. That's it. And then save the script and stop the recording and save the script. And then let me create a new folder here to store my locators. Login test _1. Click OK and then click OK. So this is my script. Okay, so here if you see is okay, so this is all my steps. Okay, and then I'm going to create another test called registration. Okay, so let's go back to the same folder here, right click and then new test case, registration test. Click OK. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use an existing, so I'm going to record this again. I'm going to record, but this time I'm going to follow a different method. So let me go back here. Let's log in and let me land onto registration page. So this is my registration page where I have to provide country, address, email and phone. Okay, so now let's go back to Katalon, and here let's use record web, but this time instead of using your new browsers, I'm going to use the active browser. Okay, active browsers, I'm going to select Chrome and continue recording. Okay, and let's go back to this browser. Now it's going to continue the recording in the existing browser. Okay, I'm going to select the country as Algeria, and then I'm going to provide my address and then email ID and the phone number. Okay, and then click on save and log out. That's it. So let's stop the recording and then let's save the script, and I'm going to create a new folder, registration test _1. Click OK and then click OK. So now my script has been saved. My second test case has been saved. Okay, so my first test case is I'm just performing login, and second test case I'm not performing login again. I'm just directly doing registration. Okay, so here now I need to, what is the setup first? I need to configure setup and I need to configure TearDown. So what is setup first? Setup means, so in generally whenever you automate any test case in one of the any kind of environments, right? there are some preconditions that you need to set up before you open the application or before you start automating the test cases, right? For example, opening browser is one precondition, or it is you need to set up this environment basically, right? Setting up environment in terms of opening the browser or entering the URL, right? Or if you want to generate any random phone numbers, or if you need to generate random SSN numbers, right? So you cannot use duplicate phone numbers, duplicate SSN numbers when you are automating a scenario with different sets of data, right? So creating random SSN numbers, creating random phone numbers before you enter the data into the application. So you can basically set up those generation of the random numbers also, correct? Setting up a random number, setting up some variables, setting up the URL, setting up the environment, all these comes under setup. And what about TearDown? TearDown means once you complete your test case automation and the execution is completed, and what are all the things you need to do. For example, closing browser is one TearDown action, or deleting some temporary files, your Excel files, or if you are logging any logs, right? Deleting the logs or deleting some PDF files that you are storing. So all these things comes under TearDown. So basically you are resetting your environment once you complete your execution. Okay, so now, so for that, first of all, let us create a test suite. Okay, so let's go to test suite and create a new test suite. Now test suite, name this as setup TearDown. Okay, click OK. Okay, so before we call these two test cases to our test suite, let me do some modifications. So here, opening browser and navigating to URL. So these two are my setup configurations. So I don't want to keep these two into a test case. I want to move these repeatable functions to setup configuration. So that's why I'm going to delete this. Delete opening the browser, delete navigating to the URL. Okay, before deleting, I'm going to copy this code here in the script mode, copy. Okay, I'm going to delete navigate to URL, correct? And then after clicking on login, I want to directly perform registration. So that's why close browser also I'm going to delete. Okay, this comes under TearDown. And let me go to registration test also. And here in the same way, I don't want to keep open browser in the test case. Navigate to URL also I don't want to keep in the test case. And then closing browser also I don't want to keep in the test case. I want test case means it's just a test case related steps. Okay, so now save all these changes. So if you see, observe, in both the test cases, I don't have any initiation or setup related actions like opening browsers or closing browsers, correct? Done. So now let's go to your test suite just now we created. What is the test suite we created? We created test suite called setup TearDown. So here I want to call those two test cases. From lesson 22, I want to call login test, registration test. Click OK. So now we need to set up your configure setup process. Let's go to script mode where we are actually under test suite. We are not under test case. Okay, we are under test suite. Under test suite, you need to go to script mode. And if you see here, there are some functions that are already available. What are those functions? Setup, @setup. This is one function. And setup, that means you are setting up environment for the test suite. And TearDown, you are cleaning your test suite environment. And one more thing is setup test case. You are actually running before each test case starts. Basically, you are setting up environment before each test case, right? And then tear down test case. This is you are actually clearing the environment after running the test case. So the difference between setup and setup test case is setup means all the actions which you define in that setup runs before your test suite begins. Setup test case means all the actions that you define in this function will run before any test case runs, each test case. In the same way, tear down means it's going to clean or it's going to perform all the actions you define here after running your test suite. And tear down test case is it's going to perform all the actions you define here after each test case. Okay, so now first let's see test suite level. Defining, as I told you in the previous slide, you can define setup and tear down at test suite level. Okay, so let's see what is our test suite level. So here under setup test suite, I'm going to define opening the browser. What I'm doing, I'm opening web UI.navigate to URL. I'm actually opening the URL. And then under tear down, I want to close the browser. I want to close the browser. So basically closing the browser is a normal step that you perform for any kind of actions, right? So closing browser, so I mean you can directly copy web UI.close browser. It's a small command here, right? So let me go back to the test suite again. Okay, setup and tear down test suite. So what I'll do, under tear down, I'm gonna specify web UI dot web UI dot close browser. Okay, web UI dot close browser, that's what I'm going to specify. So web UI dot close browser. So this is my tear down. That means once the test suite execution is completed, I want system to close the browser, right? Now save this. So now let's see, let's go back to the main view. And now if I execute this test case, if you see these login test, these test cases does not have open browser and registration test does not have close browser, correct? But we added them as part of your test suite as a setup and as a tear down methods, correct, under scripts, right? So now if I run this particular test suite, now these two test cases should run successfully by opening your browsers and closing the browsers. So now let's run these test cases. Run Chrome. We'll see now. So now first, before test case starts, that means before test suite executes, it should perform setup, which is opening the URL. So if you see here, okay, I think there is a problem. Okay, what is the problem? Let's see. Okay, I think, yeah. So one thing we are missing here. Okay, what we are missing, let's go back to script here. Okay, one thing is, if you see here, this setup skipped equal to true. That means we are instructing Katalon to skip this particular function. So you need to make this as false. In the same way, tear down also, you need to make this as false, so that these two functions will be included whenever you execute the suite. Now let's see now. Okay, so you understand, right? If these two skipped equal to true, defined as skipped equal to true, then these functions will be skipped. Simple. So now let's run this again. So now before you run this, let's go back to script and make sure everything is fine. So close browser, I think there was a semicolons here, I removed this. Okay, let's save this. I think open browser is not needed again. You can simply navigate web UI dot navigate, we can do, and then let's run this particular test suite. So before it starts running the test suite, it should open the URL first. Okay. So if you see at the bottom, you can observe it should call your setup. See, it is calling setup. Oh, I think we have to open the URL. Sorry. So I think there is a mistake here. Let's go back to script, and here let's paste open browser. Save this and let's go back to main and then again execute it. Okay. So basically we missed one step called open browser and then navigate to. Okay. Without opening the browser, you cannot perform navigate operation. Right click and now run this. So now it should successfully call your setup function first and then execute test case 1, test case 2. See, it is opening, starting your Chrome driver, and then it should execute test case 1 and then test case 2, and then it should call TearDown. See, test case 1 is done. Now test case 2 is running. Done. Email done. Log out, close. So if you see here, even TearDown, if you see first test case 1, test case 2, before that, before running test cases, there is a setup which is actually performing open browser and navigate to. After test case 2, there is a TearDown which is actually closing your browser. So here in the setup, whatever the actions that you want to perform before your test case execution, as I told you, generating some random numbers or creating your Excel sheets and everything you can put in setup. Okay. So now let's go back to script again. And if you want to define this at test case level, you can do same thing. So if I want to run, so basically what you can do, you just go here under test case, you can define any action that you would like to perform for each test case, right? So it's same like test suite. Only thing is the difference is instead of setup, you are going to use setup test case. Instead of tear down, you can use tear down test case. So that means which runs after each test case ends, which runs after each test case starts. Okay. So this is the way you can define your setup and tear down at test suite level and test case level. Hope you all understand the concepts very well. If you have any queries, leave your queries in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. Thank you. Hope you all understand the concepts of setup and tear down functions in Katalon Studio. If you have any queries, leave your queries in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. Please do subscribe to the channel. Click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. So this is our lesson 23, where I'm going to start discussing about BDD Cucumber framework by using Katalon. So from now onwards, I'm going to cover BDD Cucumber framework automation by using Katalon in multiple sessions. So this is our part 1 of BDD Cucumber framework, right? So I'm going to cover the basic concepts of BDD Cucumber framework by using Katalon. How can we achieve end-to-end BDD Cucumber framework by using Katalon? Okay, please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. Okay, so what is our agenda item? So as part of part 1 session, I'm gonna show you how can you create a project in Katalon Studio, and then to achieve the BDD Cucumber framework, how can we create feature files by using Katalon Studio, and then how can you create step definitions for the feature file that you have created, and then how can we run feature files. And also I'm going to give a simple example. How can we parameterize your feature file with the different test data sets? Okay. And then I'm going to show you how can we run the parameterized feature file by using Katalon Studio. Now let's jump onto the system and learn how can you create BDD Cucumber framework by using Katalon Studio. So this is my Katalon Studio. Okay. So our first step is to create a project in Katalon Studio. Let's go back to Katalon Studio and let us create one project. Okay. Let's click on file, new, and then project, and name this as BDD Cucumber framework. Okay. And then select OK. So type, I'm gonna keep it as web itself, and then click on OK. So once you click on OK, it's going to create a new project in Katalon with all the structure. Okay. So as you all know, I've already published 21 videos explaining all the basic structure that is being created in the Katalon. You have test cases, object repository, test suites, right? So now what is our next step? We created a project. Now create feature file in include folder of Katalon. So till now, when till 22 videos, YouTube videos, we worked on test cases, right? So we directly created test cases. I mean, we created folder and then we started creating test cases by automating the test cases, correct? So here, because we are following BDD framework, so you need to start working on include folder. Okay, if you expand this include folder, you will have a folder called features. Okay, under these features, I need to create a feature file. So generally BDD framework, if you go to a sample BDD framework, I think if you all remember, I mean, I don't know if you are all aware of this. If you say BDD feature file example, okay, if I search BDD feature file example, right, you will have one example. Probably let's go to images, simple images. Okay, given and when then. So this is your feature file example. Okay, let me expand this. Okay, this is your scenario, right, and this is your feature, and then your scenario and steps, given and when then, right? So this is the way we write the feature file. Okay, so this is all we are going to write it as a Gherkin language. Gherkin language means user understandable language. Okay, so let's go back to feature file and right click here and let's create one. Either you can create a folder, under folder you can create your feature file, or you can directly create feature file. Okay, so in this case I'm going to directly create a feature file. Okay, let's name this as login feature file. Okay, login.feature. Click OK. So what we are going to automate first, as I explained you in my previous sessions, we are going to automate same website that we used to follow, example.testproject.io, and this is your login. You need to provide your full name, you need to provide your password and click on login. Okay, that is your login function. Okay, so if you see, as soon as I create login feature, what happened? It created a file, login feature file, along with some predefined feature file with sample scenario, right? So let us just delete entire content which has been given by Katalon Studio, right? It's an example. I want to delete that and let me create from the scratch. Let us create from scratch. Okay, first, what is our feature? My feature is login feature. Okay, and then what is our scenario? Our scenario is test login with valid credentials. Okay, test login with valid credentials. And then given, see, given means it's a kind of precondition. Given user navigates to login page, given user is user navigates to login page. If you see here, there is some error. What it says, does not have matching glue code. Leave about that. I'm going to tell you later. Okay. So basically this given is coming from where? Let's delete this. Let's enter given control space is going to show you. So given is coming from your Cucumber. So it's your Cucumber add-in. So if you see, select this. So basically it is coming from Cucumber. Okay. It's a Cucumber dependency. Given user navigates to login page, when, again space, see when is coming from Cucumber. When user enters username and password. Okay, when user enters username, passwords, and see here again, and is also Cucumber keyword, and click on login button. Click on login button, right? What happens when user enters password and username and password and click on login button? Then user is navigated to where? Registration page. If you see here, I enter some name, password. See, now user is actually navigated to registration page where he has to provide country, address, email, phone number, right? So they'll say, I'm going to tell it as user is navigated to registration page, right? That's what I'm going to tell. And let's save this. So if you see, this is your feature file to test. So basically, how many scenarios within this? See, for login feature, you might have multiple scenarios. Again, another scenario is like copy. Probably I want to cover login with invalid, and then I want to validate. See here, instead of clicking on login, what happens? User will be prompted with error message as invalid credentials, right? And here enter invalid username, password. Like that, how many scenarios you want to define, you can define within the feature file. Okay, let me delete this. Now let's work on this one scenario that we created here. Now if you see the error, it says step user navigates to login page does not have a matching glue code. What do you mean by that? So whenever you define scenario in a feature file, you should have a step definitions. I have to define, so I have to create step definition for each step in the feature file. Okay, glue code nothing but step definition. Okay, so for that you need to create step definitions. How can we create step definitions? So if you see under script, left side pane, you have to expand scripts. You can see there is a Groovy. So basically step definitions are defined in Groovy language. Okay, so here you have a default package. Right click here and click new and select step definition. Okay, step definition. Here I'm going to specify it as login steps. So these are my simple language, Gherkin language steps, but this is where I'm going to define step definitions for each step in the feature file. Okay, I'm going to mention this as login steps. Click OK. So as soon as you click OK, it's going to create one login steps.groovy. Okay, login steps.groovy. So let me just simply collapse this import. Okay, so if you see, these are all my login steps, correct? So it gave me some sample code, like what? given def. So let me just delete all this now. Okay, let me delete all this code and let us create from scratch. Okay, let us create from scratch. Okay, so now our step definition. Okay, first let's create, let's what is my first step is user navigates to login page, correct? So let us create a definition for that. So before that, let me simply, okay, I think that's okay. So now let's create a definition, def navigate to login page. First, our first step is navigate to login page, correct? Navigate to, you can just, the name of definition, it's your wish. Okay, navigate to login page, open curly braces, right? And I'm writing the function, definition function. Okay, so here instead of writing actual code, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use println for now. So for now I'm going to give you very basic concept in my part 2 session. This is our part 1 session, right? In part 2 session I'm going to show you one real-time example also. Okay, so here I'm going to write println. What are we doing? Println, I'm breaking the line. So basically I'm instructing to start from the new line to print. Okay, that's why /n. Okay, I am user is navigated to login page. User is navigated to login page. Okay, so that means when I execute this, if it enters this particular definition, it's going to print me user is navigated to login page. Okay, done. Now, but here one thing is, see, for step definition also you need to use one keyword called @ because this is my given, right? @ given. See, @ given, if you say like this, it's going to show you from where it is coming. See, this is from Cucumber, Java, right? So @ given, and this is my definition. Okay, so here what is the step? See, I have to glue. Basically, if you see here, still if I refresh this, so let's say recalculate steps, still the error is showing me. Okay, if I recalculate steps, if you have a corresponding step definition, then this error will gone. But here I need to glue now. How? By using given function. Given, what is this? This is my step, correct? Copy this as it is. You need to copy this feature file step from feature file, given, and name this function as this. So now given, sorry, here double close. Okay, given, and this is my definition. Now save this. So for this feature step, now here save it, right click, and now do it as recalculate steps. So it's going to recalculate. See, if you, it's going to recalculate for some time. See, now there is no error for this line. So error is gone. That means this step has a corresponding step definition. Okay, but rest all still does not have. So let's now create all step definitions for rest of the steps in the feature files, in the scenario. Okay, so again, now my next one is @ when. Okay, when what is my step in the feed scenario? This is my step in the scenario. Copy. So before writing @ when, anyway, let's define definition. Def, same thing. Okay, def, what is my enter credentials? What is my function? Enter credentials. Basically I'm writing function for each step. Okay, enter credentials, And what is this? Println again, user entered username password, user entered username and password. Okay, done. So now what is our next one? Next one is, so here I have to again glue this step definition, right? Where to glue? I need to glue to my second step in the scenario. When, so let's copy this. When this one, user enter, paste it here. Done. So then next, what is next? Next again, start definition. User clicks on login button, right? Click login. Function println /n user clicked on login button. Done. Okay, and what is our next step? User navigates to registration page, correct? User navigates to registration page. Oh, before that I have to glue this particular step definition. What is this? And this is my end statement, right? Copy, paste this. Done. Save it. What is my last step? So def verify homepage, verify registration page. So basically as soon as you hit login, you'll be landing onto registration page, right? So that's why I'm going to verify that. Okay, this is my step definition. Open curly braces. Now println user is navigated to registration page. See, I'm not writing any code right now. I'm just giving println codes. Okay, I'm gonna write proper code in the next part 2 session. Okay, so it is our base. Okay, done. So now here again I need to glue this step definition by using then I have to provide the same name, the same step name. User is navigated to registration page. Save this. Now save this entire step definition. Okay, and let's go back to login feature, and here still you can see the errors. So you need to right click and recalculate steps. See, now all the errors gone. That means now this feature file scenario is valid because this particular feature file steps, scenario steps, has the corresponding step definitions. Okay, hope you all understand, right? How can you glue your feature file steps with your step definition? Okay, so this is done. So now here right click here and then just do it as pretty format. So what happens, it's going to do proper formatting here. Okay, so that is done. Now I want to run this feature file as it is. Okay, how? So now let's go here. You will be actually opening your feature file directly. You can run here itself, run as Cucumber feature file, or you can directly hit run button here. As soon as I hit run here, let's see run. Okay, so it started running, and let's observe our log viewer and the job progress. Okay, so it is running. So if you see here, if you see the log viewer, I can see user navigates. So that means it entered all the functions that we defined here, right? User is navigates to user enters username password, click on login button. So it entered each and every step definition. Okay, if I go to console, see I should see println, right? Println activities. If you see here console, see user is navigated to login page, user entered username password, user clicked on login page, user is navigated to registration page, and there are 4 steps. Correct? So that means all our test cases pass. All the steps are passed. Okay. And let me now let me tell you one more thing. Okay. So now we completed creation of your step definitions, right? And now let's go back to login feature again. Okay. Now let's say I want to test this particular scenario with multiple test data sets. How can I do that? Okay. For that, in the feature file itself, you can define some examples. Means you can provide your data sets for username and password. I want to use different username and different password for couple of scenarios. Okay, couple of test cases. Okay, I want to basically do parameterization. So how can we do parameterization? Entering the username. How can I do? So for any parameterization, you're gonna use these square, what I can say, pointed braces. Okay. In the same way here also, password also I'm going to use this. Okay, done. And now that means these two are my parameters. Now I want to parameterize these two parameters with multiple data sets. How can I do that? So here examples, you need to define it as examples, and here pipe symbol and my username, sorry, here examples. Okay, and my username here, right? Username, password, and now here and one more thing is, as soon as you convert this as examples, you cannot name this as scenario. You need to rename this as scenario outline. Remember that. That's why it is showing error message. Let me do again. So if you see here, it shows error message. What it says, expected one of comment. Okay, row scenario outline. So that's why you need to define this as scenario outline, because we are parameterizing it. Okay, so done. Username, password, and let's say my first username is Ravikant, and then password is 12345, and then next one is Chandu. Let's assume next user is Chandu, and then password is same. Okay, I'm using some dummy password that is given by that particular website. Now if you see, I defined it, but now again this glue code is not working now, because we changed this as a parameterization. So what you need to do, you need to enhance this step definition. Let's go back to login here. See, if you want to right click here, you can directly go to step definition also. Okay, find step definition. It's going to highlight your step definition directly in the here. It's going to highlight that. Right click. You don't have find definition because this does not have any definition. Let's say for this, right click find step definition. See, it directly lands here. So now this user enter username password does not have a proper step definition because we changed it as parameterization, right? So now I need to change this function also. How? Here instead of username we change it as a parameter, right? It's a variable, kind of variable. So now I want to, instead of using username, I want to use a regular expression. What? Dot star. That means anything. See, here it might user enter something, and something. It can be anything. There you can define as whatever you want. Dot star dot star. So now it's go save this again. Now go back here and here right click and recalculate steps. Done. So now your step definition is valid. But again here in this function I want to use in the step definition function, right? Here I want to pass username and password. Okay, enter credentials. Here in the enter credentials, let's pass the string username and also string username. Let me comma again string password, right? String password. So basically what I am doing, I am now entering the, for this function I am actually passing username and password variables. Okay, and here also I am going to println, I'll say username is, I'm going to simply pass this variable here. Username is this, and then password println password is again your password variable. Okay, so here, so basically what happens, first it enters, when I execute it enters this particular step, and then it goes here, and then this username and password whatever I am defining here, right, it's gonna, first set will be Ravikant. It's gonna enter Ravikant here and password 12345. So they same Ravikant and 12345 will be printing here. Okay, that's how you do it. So now let's save this session, save this one. Okay, so now I converted the function, okay, properly along with the variables username and password. I think here I need to name this as password. Let me password, this is correct. Now this is correct, password. Okay, save this. So there is no spelling mistake now, right? Okay, now let me run this. Now when I run this, it should run two sets, two times. One is with Ravikant username and the other one is with Chandu username. Correct? Let's save this. Now let me run this particular feature file. Okay, this time right click and run as Cucumber feature. Okay, let me. So it is now running. It started running. Okay. So running. It should run twice. 1, 2. See, if you see here, this is my first test case and this is my second test case. Let's expand this log viewer. If you see here, login enters Chandu password. Login button. Sorry, first one is this, right? First one is Ravikant password. Oh, okay. Password, something is wrong. Actually, password did not take the password. Okay. See here, this is wrong. Spelling is actually, we named it as ORD, password. Correct? Password. So now let me run it again. Okay. So now it should pick up all the values. So this is perfect. Success. So let's again analyze this. See, login page, first it entered Ravikant 12345 as password, login and navigated. And second test case, here, login page enters Chandu 12345, right? That means this particular scenario has been ran twice, two different sets of data, right? So now how can I mean, this is not proper report, but when I create a test suite and then if I run this both, this scenario, right, you can see proper test results with a test report also. Okay, out of these two test cases, how many passed, how many failed, all these things. Okay, but now what we did under step definition, I just entered some println statements. But instead of this, I'm gonna next session, I'm gonna show you with example proper login page I'm gonna take, and then I'm proper code I'm gonna write in the Groovy. Okay, so now hope you all understand how can we create a basic framework of BDD Cucumber in Katalon. Okay, and then if you have any queries, leave your queries in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. So now in the part 2 session, I'm gonna show you a real-time example with couple of scenarios by automating the scenarios in BDD Cucumber. Okay, hope you all understand the concepts of BDD Cucumber framework by using Katalon Studio as part of our part 1 session. Stay tuned for the next sessions where I'm going to cover more advanced concepts of BDD Cucumber framework by using Katalon. So this is our part 2 of BDD Cucumber framework and automating your manual tests by using BDD Cucumber framework using Katalon tool. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Okay, so what is our agenda item? So in the previous session, I've already told you how can we create feature file and how can we create the step definitions for the feature file. So I have showed an example, very simple example, like by using println commands. Basically, we have printed some text on the command prompt or printed some text on the console, right, by using feature files. So in this session, we are going to update the same feature file in include folder of Katalon to automate the actual test cases by using a sample website. Okay, and then we are going to create step definitions for feature file, and then we are going to run the feature files, and also we are going to create test case, and we are going to run the feature file by using Cucumber keywords, right? And also we are going to create test suite to run the Cucumber file or Cucumber feature file, whatever we created, and then we are going to analyze the test results. So now let's jump onto the system and see how can we automate the actual test cases by using BDD Cucumber framework in Katalon. Tricentis is a software testing company headquartered in Austin, Texas. It provides software testing automation and software quality assurance products like Neoload performance testing tool, Tricentis Tasca automation tool, etc. Tricentis is expanding its learning communities and just launched a new community called ShiftSync. So ShiftSync is a space for developers, testers, and DevOps specialists to easily share the knowledge, connect with like-minded people, and enhance quality in the development process with valuable content, user forums, and industry experts' contribution. ShiftSync offers an engaging space for professionals to connect and learn. So join ShiftSync today by using the link provided in the description. Okay, so in our previous class, what we did, we have created a login feature, right? Where we wrote the Gherkin language like given user navigates to login page when user clicks on, user enters username, password, and click in button, right? Click on button, and then user navigates to registration page. Basically, we tried to create a feature file with a scenario of login page, and also we have parameterized the username and password. So for this feature file we have created step definition in here under script login steps, right? So what kind of step definition we created? We created step definition for each step for the scenario, correct? Given user navigates to login page. So for that we have created given user navigates to login page, but only thing is we have not actually wrote the code to invoke browser, but what we did is actually we just created println commands. So once code enters here, it prints the text in the console, and once code enters here, it prints the text in the console, right? So successfully we have completed creating step definitions for feature file, right? But only thing we have used only println. Okay, so in this session I'm going to show you actual example where we are going to automate the login function. Okay, actual login function of our demo web shop. Okay, let's go to demo web shop. So this is what, so I'm going to click on login, and then we need to enter username, password. First you will be entering valid username and valid password. So once you hit login, so you need to verify we logged into this particular page, and then log out, and now again login with invalid credentials. So that's what we are going to do. Okay, so now let us automate this login function, and then once logged in, user needs to land onto the shopping panel. Okay, so now let's go back here. So for that what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new test case. See, till now we have not created test case, we just created feature file and then we created step definition. Okay, so in this session I'm going to create one new test case to just record our test case whatever we would like to automate. Okay, new test case, I'm going to name this as login underscore test. Okay, click OK, and then so here I want to record my web. Okay, so before that I want to copy the URL. Okay, let's copy the URL, demo web shop URL. Okay, copy, close this. So here now let's start the recording web by using this web recording. Okay, click here, initializing the recorder, and this is my URL, correct URL, correct, and then I'm going to hit record by using Chrome, right? Hit record. So now it is recording, it's going to open your URL. I'm going to simply click on login. I'm going to provide my username, and then I'm going to provide password. Once you log in, I want to click on like electronics. I want to make sure this particular button is link is available once I log in. Okay, I'm gonna, or this link, once you log in, Ravi Reddy for QA Gmail, your profile link should be available. Just click on this. That's it. Now let's log out and close the browser and stop it. Okay, it stopped. Now I want to, if you see expand, it logged, I mean it actually logged each and every action that we performed, correct? So now let's save the script, and here I'm going to create a new folder, login test. Okay, I'm storing all the controls into a new folder called login test. Click OK. Done. So now this is my, see, this is my test that I recorded just now. Okay, so if you go to your script mode, you can see all the scripting, corresponding scripting. Okay, open browser, navigate to URL, and then find, click on your login button, login link, and then enter your username, enter password, right? And then you are clicking on login button, and then you are verifying the Ravi my profile link and logging out and close browser. Okay, so now let's go back to our feature file. So here this is my feature file, and this is my step definition. Okay, so I would recommend you guys to please visit my previous video before you watch this session, because both are interdependent. Okay, so now here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open the login test that just now I recorded. Okay, what is my first step? My first step is navigate to login page, right? Here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy whatever I recorded, open browser, and then navigate to the URL. I'm going to copy from the test case just now I recorded. Okay, and then I'm going to paste that into my first step definition. And what is my second step definition? Entering username password. So let's go back to the test case, and then let's copy this login also. Okay, what I'm going to do, here you navigated and then click on login, right? And here enter your username and password, right? So what I'm going to do, let's go back to login test, copy this, entering the username, entering the password, copy and paste it here, and click on login. So for click on login, another step definition. Okay, user click done. I'm going to copy click on login script, copy and then paste it here. I'm not deleting the println commands because just I want to make sure I can verify the same in console. Okay, again so let's go back to login test, and now here verify. So before actually making change, I want to make one small change here. Okay, I'm clicking on my profile, right? Instead of clicking on profile, what I want to do, I want to change this as verify. Okay, what I'm going to do, verify element presents. Okay, I want to verify if that link presents or not. Okay, verify element present. What link? My profile link. Okay, verify element present. Okay, I changed it. Let's go back here. Now copy that code, corresponding code. What I'm doing, see here, web UI verify element present. Copy this. Let's go back here. So user is navigated to registration page, right? How can you do that? By verifying if that particular profile link is available once he logs in. Done. And then also I want to close the browser. Sorry, I want to log out and close the browser. Copy, paste here. Okay. Okay. So here that is done. Okay, let's save this. Okay, let's save this first. So one small change what we need to do is, if you see here, I have provided my username and password right here, but we defined this function by passing two parameters called username password. So here instead of let me copy this username, because we parameterized. So I want to make sure that in login feature I'm going to enter the username, valid username, and then I'm going to enter the password. What is the password? So encrypted format. So this is my encrypted format password. Copy this, paste it here. Okay, how can you encrypt password? You have another thing here. Okay, if you go to help, encrypt test. Okay, let's say my password is just password. See, you can directly copy this encrypted format and paste it here. Okay, let's put this invalid for invalid. Okay, and here I want to pass second set of username, and this is my password. Okay, save this. Okay, so here instead of hard coding the username, I want to pass this username, right? Copy, paste it here, and then pass the password. This is password. Done. So that means, okay, so this is done. Now save this. So let's run this feature file with this time. What happens, we'll see. Okay, let's run this feature file. So now it should open your actual Chrome browser now, because we are not passing any println commands. I mean, we are not only passing println commands, but we are actually invoking the browser, right? We are interacting with the browser. See, it opened the browser. It then click on login. It should click on login, right? It entered your first email, which is valid email. Login, log out and close. Now it should open another time the browser, and now it should provide your invalid login. That's why it's going to fail the test case. So this test case will be failed. So it failed. See, it failed. So this test case got failed. Okay, that's okay. So if you see here, let's analyze the result here. Okay, my first set. Okay, if you see here, my first set is open the URL first and then entered the email. What email? It entered this one, which is valid email, and then it entered the password, which is valid password. And here, see, it is validating. Clicked on login, and then see object present or not. See this link, Ravi Reddy for QA Gmail present, and then log out, close browser, right? Now here if you see, second test case, it opened and everything done. Once it enters the username and password, click on login. Now the verification is failed because the whatever the credentials that we entered are wrong. Okay, so this is how you can automate this. Okay, now let us, now what we did, we directly ran this particular feature file. So we have not created any test case. So how can you create test cases for Cucumber feature files, for Cucumber framework? So let's do that. Okay, so here again, go to test case again, right click, click on new and select test case. So this time I'm going to make it as login underscore Cucumber. So I'm creating Cucumber test cases. Okay, for feature files, whatever I wrote, I'm creating test cases. So this is my empty test case. Now here, if you go to your keyword browser, go to built-in keywords, and here there is a section called Cucumber keywords. If you expand this, you have a general bucket. Under general bucket, you can see run feature file with tags, run feature folder with tags, run with Cucumber runner. So I'm going to cover run feature file and run feature folder for in this particular session, but running with Cucumber runner I'm going to cover in the next session. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this and drop it here. So you can do this way, or you can directly add from here. Add Cucumber keywords and then expand Cucumber keywords, run with feature folder, right? So you can do both the ways. So let me delete this first step, second step. So run with feature file. What is the feature file that I want to run? So this one. So now you can just right click here and copy ID and open this particular step. Here you need to provide the value, whatever the ID we copied from the feature file. Paste that particular copy ID and click OK. So now let me run the test case. So this is my test case, right? Login Cucumber. I'm in test case now. Now you can simply click on run. Now it runs the test case by calling the feature file. See, it is running. It opened your browser. Now it's going to provide the valid credentials. So the test case will be passed. Logout, done. Now again it opens the browser. Now it's invalid credentials. Now test case will be failed. See, now it failed the test case. Okay, so let's close this again now. So if you see, everything is successful. Okay, so now let us create test suite and then let us run our Cucumber feature files by using test suite. Right click here, click on new and select test suite, smoke test underscore Cucumber. Okay, click OK, and here I wanna add test cases to the test suite. Click on add, and what is my test case? This is my Cucumber test case, correct? Select that and click OK. Done. Now I can run my test cases here, test suite. Or before that, let me also tell you one more thing. Okay, let's go back to test case. Here we ran with the feature file, right? Now I want to run with feature folder. Okay, so let's go back here again. Here I'm gonna drag and drop run feature folder. Okay, so that means if I provide, so here this is my feature folder, right? Features folder. Whenever I run this, it's going to run all the feature files. Let's say under this folder, if you create login and then registration or shopping cart, right? How many number of feature files you create, those many number of feature files is going to run by using this command. Okay, so now here I'm going to take the ID of my folder, not the feature file. Okay, copy the ID and provide your ID here. Click OK. So here I want to disable this. Let's see. Okay, I think I have to upgrade. That's okay. So now let's delete this now. Okay, the first one. So now I created a test case based on feature folder. So it's going to run all the feature files that are available in this particular folder. So let's run this again. So it should open your browser. It should run login function twice with valid credentials and invalid credentials. So if you have multiple feature files in this folder, then it's gonna run multiple feature files. So this is your invalid credential, right? So it's gonna fail your test. Okay, so let's stop this now. I think it's already failed. Okay, done. So now let's go back to test suite again. So we already created one test suite called smoke test Cucumber, and I added the test case, right? Already I added that. Let me again do that. Okay, let's delete this. Now let's add the test case again because we modified the test case, right? Login Cucumber, and here let's run this test suite. Now what is the advantage of test suite? So when I run the test suite, you can see the reports. Your reports will be published. Okay, let me run this. Okay, now so it's going to perform the same activity. It's going to run the same test cases, the same test case with valid credentials, invalid credentials. Yes, it is running with valid credentials now. Now let me show you how can we analyze the test results. Okay, so it's going to fail your test case. Now we will see how to analyze the reports, because the advantage of running test suite is you can see the test reports in HTML format and different formats. Okay, so this is failed now. Okay, so if you see here now, I think it is still uploading the report. If you see, It is uploading the report because you ran with the test suite. Okay, let's go back to, if you see here under reports, expand this. Now I can see a new folder, right? Open this, smoke test cucumber, right? This is our test suite that we ran. This is our report. Double click here. I think, yeah, anyway. So right click here and go to open containing folder. Open containing folder. If you go to the corresponding folder, this is the report. Okay, you can see the report in Excel format. Let's open the Excel format report first. See, if you see here, okay, number of test cases. One test case we ran twice, right? One test case we ran twice. Failed, failed. One test case is failed. Okay, let's close this again. Let's close this. Now let me open this HTML report now. So if you open this, it is very detailed HTML report you can find. Okay, here, open this. Test steps. See here. So here, for the first iteration, it is passed. Correct? But for the second iteration, so if you see here in detail, you can see. First, here, I have set login credential as this one and password and clicked on login, and here this profile link is present and clicked on logout, close the browser, right? And then for second set, it entered all the credentials here. See, it entered the email, new email chandu@gmail.com, entered password, login, click on login. Then it throws error because the element is not present. Okay, see, it took the screenshot also. I can see the screenshot where it failed because I provided invalid credentials. I throwed an error. Simple. So that's why if you see, this is not present. Unable to verify the object of my my profile link. Correct? So done. So this much detailed report you will get, including the screenshots. You can expand and can do this way also, right? So this is the advantage of your test suite running, where you can analyze the reports also. Okay, so hope you all understand how can you define your feature files. Very basic functionality. Okay, how can you define your feature files by using Gherkin language, and then how can you define step definition for each step in the scenario, right? Yeah, this is first step is this, given when user navigates to login, when enters username password, and then click login button, and then navigate to registration page and validates this, right? And close the browser. So we completed creating step definition for the login function. Okay, so hope you all understand. If you have any queries, leave your queries in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries.
Hope you all understand the concepts of BDD Cucumber framework by using Katalon automation tool as part of part 2 of BDD Cucumber framework lesson. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you.
Right? So this is our third lesson, which is a part 3 of BDD Cucumber framework, where I'm gonna teach you how can we create the Cucumber runner class by using Katalon Studio, and how can we run the Cucumber test cases by using Cucumber runner class. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. Okay, so in this lesson, what we are going to do, we are going to first create a new class inside a folder called include. Under include, we have another folder called scripts, right? And then we are going to create a groovy class file. Okay, and then I'm going to add the code related to Cucumber Runner class. And then we will call the Cucumber keyword in test case to run the feature file with Cucumber class runner. Earlier, I showed you how to run with Cucumber feature files and feature folder, right? But in this class, I'm going to show you how can we run tests by using Cucumber runner class. Okay. So now let's jump onto the system and see how can we create Cucumber runner class and then how can we run your BDD test cases by using Cucumber runner class. Okay, so this is my Katalon studio, right? So in my previous two sessions, I have told you how can you create the feature file, right? We've created a feature file. And then we also created a corresponding step definition file where we have defined all the actions that we need to perform to run this feature file, right? Like given user navigates to login page, enter username, password, and click on login, and we have a corresponding step definitions here. Correct? So that is done. And what we did, we have run this feature file by using the Cucumber keywords like run feature folder and run feature file. We directly run feature folder, or you can directly run feature file. So if you run feature folder, all the feature files that are available in this folder will be run, right? So now in this session, I'm going to teach you how can you create the Cucumber class runner. Okay, Cucumber runner class, right? So now for that, you need to go to your Groovy. As I told you, scripts. What is our first step? Our first step is you need to go to Groovy, right? So before we start creating our runner Cucumber runner class, let me show you the runner class here in generic runner class, right? Cucumber runner class. Generally we import all these libraries that is required for the Cucumber runner, right? So one library is run with from JUnit, and the other one is Cucumber options from Cucumber API, and then there is another library, Cucumber library from Cucumber API, right? So then we will be defining at the rate run with, and here we'll be defining the Cucumber options where you are going to tell, okay, what are all the features that needs to be run with this runner class, and then we are going to glue the step definition. But here we are not going to glue any step definitions because Katalon will take care of the gluing the step definition with the feature files. I have explained this in my previous session. And then also you can add other options like pretty HTML reports and JSON reports, etc. Right? So now let's go back to our Katalon. Here under Groovy, under default, let me create a new class file, right? Right click, new, and select step definition. I'm going to name this as Cucumber Runner. Cucumber Runner. I'm going to name this as Cucumber Runner. And I'm not going to include the generate sample given when then the step definition. Okay. Cucumber Runner and click OK. So it's going to create a new class file. Okay. So here I need to first copy all the libraries. What libraries? I need to import these libraries, correct? To start with Cucumber class, right? So I'm going to just copy this. I'm going to import them here and then just minimize all these. So I imported all these, right? Done. Now let's start with the defining the Cucumber runner class. So now at the rate run with. So if you see here, if you hover here, it's going to show you, see, arg JUnit runner run with. So basically it is coming from JUnit, correct? What is this? Cucumber dot class. So if you see over here, Cucumber is coming from Cucumber API JUnit. Just now we added those three, right? So these three, correct? That is done. And once you define that, now at the rate, now I'm going to define the Cucumber options. Cucumber options. So what are the Cucumber options? These Cucumber options again coming from the API, Cucumber options API, correct? Cucumber API. And now Cucumber options, here I need to define the feature file. What is my feature? That should include, so basically I need to copy this. So where is my feature file? So feature file is here, correct? So copy this feature file, copy the ID, and then paste it here. So basically, so I want to run all the features that all exist in the feature folder. So then you can copy here actually from the folder itself. You can copy ID from the folder, paste it here, right? I'm defining feature equal to features equal to features equal to, this is my feature folder ID, correct? Comma, I am gluing this step definition. But as I told you in an earlier session, the Cucumber glues your feature file with the step definition by default. So that's why I'm leaving this empty, correct? And now plugin, I'm going to define the options now. What plugin? I want to add pretty format, right? And then I want to add HTML, where I want to generate this HTML report under reports folder. Okay, under reports folder. Done. And also I want to define the JSON report, where reports, again this is reports, same reports folder. Let's copy this. Sorry. Let's copy this reports folder, and the file name that needs to be generated is cucumber.json. Okay, so done. And now, and what is our public class? Our public class is Cucumber. So I think we are done defining all this. Okay, our runner class. So now, so you understand, right? So basically we are running with our Cucumber class, and then I'm defining the Cucumber options as the features that needs to be considered, and it needs to glue to the step definition. Because Katalons take care of this, I did not provided any step definition path here. I don't need to provide that. And then I also added other options like pretty, HTML report folder, and JSON reports, right? So now let's go back to our test case. Now here, if you go to custom keywords, right, go here, built-in keywords, Cucumber keywords, and general. Here earlier I showed you run feature file, run feature folder. Now today I'm going to teach you run with Cucumber runner, right? Drag and drop here, and here what is the Cucumber runner that I want to run with? So with this one, Cucumber runner. So let's go back to script here. So if you see here, instead of null, I want to include Cucumber runner here. Cucumber runner dot groovy, right? Cucumber runner dot groovy. So now let's go here. So now let's run this now. So before that, let me delete these two earlier ones, right? Now let's save this. Now run the file. So now it should run successfully, right? Run. As soon as you run, it should open. It should interact with Cucumber runner, and it should pick up the feature files that we defined. Okay, there is some issue. No such group. Sorry. So basically here I need to just put the Cucumber runner class. Okay. Or what you can do is just you can drag and drop here. Simple this way. It works this way also. Okay. Now let's run this now. So it should interact with your Cucumber runner, and it should call the feature files. So it is initiating the Chrome driver now, right? It opened your Chrome browser and it should log into, it's logging in. Once it is logged in, and it should log out again. It's logged out and close the browser. So this is successful. So that means now our test is passed, correct? You can see all the results here. All are passed. All the steps are passed. Now we actually defined under Cucumber Runner, we defined to generate some reports, right? So these are the reports where I can find them. Okay. So let's go to reports. Under reports, so this is done, right? We ran, what is the test case that we ran? Let's go back here. Yeah, this one. Test cucumber, smoke test cucumber. When is this? Let's see. Let's go back to the corresponding folder here. Go to open contain folder, and here let's go back to our framework. So if you see here, there is a new folder called reports folder, right? Because we are generating this reports folder here, right? Let's go to reports folder, and here open this HTML. See, here you have the entire report here. See, this is your scenario and this is your example, right? We entered username, password, and this is your scenario given. User navigates to login, enters username, password, clicks on login, and then user navigates to registration page. That's what we did, right? So this is done. And also you have a JSON formatted report as well, right? So this is all about creating Cucumber Runner class by using Katalon Studio and running your Cucumber tests by using Cucumber Runner class. So if you have any queries, leave your comments in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. Thank you.